Yes, there is some there, Mr. President. When it came to his secret records, Biden's team ought to have been more forthcoming. But ultimately, the plan might still be advantageous to him. Fundamentally, crisis communication is quite straightforward: determine the plot's direction. Full disclosure of the details, acknowledge the errors you made. And finish everything as swiftly and completely as you can. The discovery of secret documents from Joe Biden's time as vice president and senator that were carelessly stashed in a number of places, including his garage in Wilmington, Delaware, next to his cherished 1967 Corvette, has been rather perplexing to see the Biden White House handle. Given the public outcry and legal quagmire Donald Trump caused by snatching away hundreds of secret documents when he left the White House in 2021 and dumping them at his Mar-a-Lago estate, the effect of the initial discovery, made on November 2, must have been instantly clear to Biden's team. In the fall, President Biden lambasted Trump for it and questioned how someone could be so careless. Biden correctly pointed out that classified and top-secret markings are used in papers for a reason: to safeguard the sources and methods of intelligence gathering and the people who put their lives in danger to provide vital national security information. There are procedures for handling such documents, and one of them is not to leave them in open storage areas or unattended garages. Additionally, former presidents and vice presidents do not have the right to keep any classified materials as a remembrance of their time in office. Why, therefore, did the White House wait months after the initial finding before acknowledging that Biden, too, had secret documents in his possession, and why did that confession follow a leak to CBS News about a running federal inquiry into the matter? Why, then, was it not included in the White House's initial statement that documents had also been found on December 20 at Biden's Delaware home? Scattered further discoveries have been disclosed since, adding to the impression of Biden's secrecy and lack of transparency. The people will learn that there's no there when the special counsel probe Attorney General Merrick Garland launched into the president's handling of papers is finished, Biden said last week, adding insult to injury. He probably meant that it would turn out that this was a simple error that was made by staff members as they hurriedly packed up his office and official residence after he resigned as vice president in 2017. This is the same argument former Vice President Mike Pence makes in regards to recently found secret materials in his Indiana home. In Biden's defense, after learning about the initial batch of papers, his attorneys got in touch with the National Archives and turned over the information. The legal counsel for the president has assisted the Justice Department in its investigation. Contrarily, Trump has deleted hundreds of records. Over a year was spent trying to recover the materials by the FBI, the National Archives, and other agencies. Even though many of the documents weren't returned, Trump's attorney claimed that all of them had. The former president also insisted that he was completely free to keep them after declassifying them through some mystical process for which there is no record. However, Biden's no there remark came over awkwardly because there were records in both his house and his former private office. It was, at best, careless and improper. Some of it is present. Biden and the White House appear to have disregarded every rule of crisis communication, including speed, transparency, and regret. But this is where I'll give the critics a break. Biden's attorneys took over as soon as the first documents were found and given to the government. Their main goal has been to defend their client against legal, not political, risk. Their goal has also been to cooperate with the investigation and be open with the prosecutors, who, according to investigative protocol, never desire public disclosure until their investigations are finished. I assume it is the reason Biden's team didn't confirm there had been a second recovery of documents when the CBS story broke. They rapidly discovered, however, that leaks can still occur even though prosecutors despise disclosures from the targets of their investigations. Unnamed sources told CNN this week that federal investigators had been prepared to issue a warrant if the president had refused, but that threat ultimately proved unneeded when the FBI searched the president's Delaware property with his consent. It was an unnecessary disclosure, maybe intended to allay Republican complaints about political bias against the DOJ and FBI, who were given permission to search Mar-a-Lago last summer after numerous attempts to get the records back from Trump proved unsuccessful. Biden's team appears to be wagering that Special Counsel Robert Hur will reach a relatively amicable resolution with complete cooperation and little public discussion, and that this entire situation will end up being an embarrassing and fleeting flap rather than an ongoing scandal. The Pence admission strengthens the notion that everyone does it, which is so easily propagated in our nuance-free politics, potentially to Biden's advantage and unquestionably to Trump's. For the time being, House Republicans are using the Biden docudrama as a punching bag for the president, which could harm the president's popularity with the general public. Additionally, it might make it more difficult for the DOJ to prosecute Trump. But if the special counsel finally clears the president of any significant wrongdoing, the president and his team might be willing to put up with weeks or months more of shouted questions they cannot or will not respond to. The Institute of Politics at the University of Chicago was founded by David Axelrod, a former senior strategist for President Barack Obama. He also serves as the host of the Axe Files podcast on CNN.